Hello and welcome back. Today, Pumpkin's asleep, we're going to take a look at these super duper mega awesome ideal F2 girths, and we're going to find out why they are so super duper mega and awesome. So sit back, make yourself a cup of tea and hopefully enjoy. Anyone that likes seeing Pumpkin, this is Pumpkin now. She's grown a little bit, haven't you, Pumpkin? She likes licking ears, nice. And she also is a great fan of these girths, aren't you, Pumpkin? She says they're so comfy, I could sleep on them. Although, if I'm honest, Pumpkin could go to sleep anyway. Let me get Pumpkin moved and then we'll have a look at these super duper girths in greater depth. They're curved, they're squishy, they're yummy and they're scrummy. But what else is different about these girths? These are by far the most popular girths that I recommend for horses that require that curved girth. So very briefly, if you don't know about curved girths, they can be really useful for horses who have what we call a forward girth groove or forward cut girth groove, forward groove. Basically, they're really good for the horses who, when you put your saddle on and your girth is hanging down, the horses who suck their girths forward, like right up into the back of their armpits, their elbow, their armpits, so they suck it right up into there, and then that in turn can suck the saddle forward a little bit. So they are really good for that type. They're also good for horses who move the saddle forward because they can help it sit back. So if you're not sure about curved girths and why horses need curved girths, I have previously done a video and I'll pop the link up there for you to click on and go and look at it, go and watch that, and then you can pop back to this video because that is the video that talks about curved girths and shows you curved girth against my horse actually who needs a curved girth. Watch that video if you don't know about them and then you can always pop back, but otherwise we're going to assume that you know what these curved girths are for. And you can see how, when you look at their shape, how they help the saddles. Imagine that I'm a horse. So imagine I'm a horse, I'm going this way and I'm putting my saddle on. You can see how that curve there will allow, I'm not going to do that, that looks weird. This here is a dressage version of the ideal F2 girth. This is a dressage one, it's ever so well padded. This is a dressage one and this is a GP one. As you can tell, it's quite a short GP one because I've got much longer ones, but they don't really fit in the screen. So this is a pony one. This is a 40-inch one. And as a result, they're not quite as wide, the little pony ones through here, because they are made for slightly smaller types. They both have on them, both dressage and GP, have the same curve. So it's this curve that makes these girths special. No, it's this curve that makes these girths curvy. So this is what makes them a curved girth. So when you look at where the buckles lie and where the front of the curve lies, so you do get a lot of curved girths that are like wiggly curvy and they look really curvy, but when you actually look at where the buckles lie in comparison to where the front of the girth lies, they're actually in the same place because the buckles often flare up. But the buckles are straight here and then that curve sticks out, I would say 7.5 centimetres above the straightness of that buckle. So there's about 7.5 centimetres forward curve on this dressage girth. On the GP, with this being a pony GP, it's about 6.5, but on an adult GP it would also be 7. It would be the same as the dressage. So that there is forward, so that curve there is ahead of the buckles. So sometimes you see curved girths that have the buckles here, then it curves in and curves forward, and so it still looks like the same girth, it still looks like a curved girth, but actually it's not. They're more designed for like relief behind the back of the elbow. They don't actually allow the saddle to sit back slightly like these ones do. Because what happens with these curved girths, this bit here comes forward onto their sternum, and then it allows the girth to sit back behind the shoulder blades. Again, pop along to the curved girth video, which by the way seems to have hit the wrong demographic in terms of searching. So people seem to be searching for a curved girth and not everyone is searching for a horse based item. So So if you fancy a laugh, read my comments on that. I've had to delete the worst ones. The ones that are on there are the cleanest ones. So for future reference, be careful when Googling about curved girths. You don't necessarily get girths of the horse variety turn up on your screen. Moving on from that, I speak to a lot of people about them needing a curved girth, recommending them to people, and a lot of people are on a budget and struggle to afford them, and they wonder why these girths are so much more expensive than a normal standard kind of waffle type or webbing type or whatever. And that is because these girths have to hold that curve. You see that curve? That's quite a curve in that girth, and the only way they can do that is to be made out of certain material. So if you imagine this was made out of cottage craft cotton girths, couldn't hold that shape. They'd collapse, wouldn't they? Or even like Thorogood Wintec type girths, that kind of waffly material, it wouldn't be able to hold that curve. The whole thing would collapse a little bit. So in order to be able to have this kind of curve, I don't know if you can see, but the webbing of the girth runs along here. There's a little ridge there, you see? So the webbing of the girth runs along there. That's what gives the girth its strength and its structure. And then this is the curve and the shape forward. So you need really leather or specialist synthetic materials to be able to hold this curve. And there are some synthetic ones out there, but by far the best are leather ones. And this here is a leather one. Now what about the ideal F2 girth in particular? What makes it different? There are a few things. So there is the shape of the curve again, really good shape of curve here on both the GP and the dressage. I also particularly like how well finished these are. Can we see here? So what happens is, and again, if you've been and watched that video where I've put my girth on my horse, I have one of these girths, and you can see how nicely the girth strap sits through here. It's a really nice like snug keeper, and it holds the girth strap in here nice. So then what happens is as the girth strap comes down, it's held really securely, and then it's on very, very well padded, very soft, very well padded leather. So you don't get any of that pressure point here behind the buckles or behind the straps. So a lot of dressage girths, when you look at them, first of all, a lot of them end like this, and then you're going to get a massive pressure point here where the buckle and the strap meet. And a lot of them don't have these keepers, in which case your girth straps can come in at all sorts of random angles and again causing a pressure point. And a lot of them aren't as well padded as this. So this padding here gives you all of this padding here gives you protection against the buckles and the straps. Because whilst we think that we want dressage girths to be as short as we can, actually we still want the girth to give our horse some protection. Again, I've done a video about the length of dressage girths. Pop along and have a look at that, because a lot of people are using them too short. We want dressage girths to cover as much of the horse as we can whilst taking the buckle out from underneath our leg. So these are really good because it means that you can have the buckle here and then the straps come up here and you're still so well protected this whole way up. There's none of that chafing where the girth straps come down. You know when you see them coming down and like you can see like that as they move against the skin. You don't get any of that on these because that's so well padded and so well protected. The whole girth is made out of this really lovely soft, well padded leather. This one here has been made for a client, so we have these made for us, and this one here has got burgundy welting on it, so you can even personalise them if you want to match your saddle. So this person's got a black dressage saddle with burgundy welting through their seat, and here's a black dressage girth with burgundy welting through their keeper. So another thing, you've not only got the keepers here, but you've also got the keeper here to tuck the spare bits of leather in, which is really useful because they don't flap around. They're lovely and wide as well, so the width here is lovely. So I tell a lot of people to get lovely wide girths. So this width here is 12.5, nearly 13 centimetres, which is nice. It's a good width, and you also get this lovely width here. Width is really important with girths as well, which again makes it sound ever so adult. So the width of your girth is also really important. So you want the girth to distribute the pressure as much as it can, and the way it does that is by having as much contact as it can. So all of this is a 26-inch dressage girth. Look how much girth there is here. Look how much leather, squishy, soft, yummy leather there is here, and all of that means your weight is distributed over a bigger area. So we look here at the width here, that's a lovely wide bit that sits on their sternum, the bit on your horse's chest that gets really squished from the girth. Look how nice and well padded and wide and broad and weight bearing and weight distributing this is. That's nearly 13 centimetres of weight distribution and pressure distribution. put my teeth back in. And pressure distribution. 13 centimetres of pressure distribution there, and look how lovely and wide it is here too under the buckles. So these two main parts of your dressage girth that you have to really worry about, under the sternum, under the buckles, really well thought out, because look how well padded that is. And the same goes for the GP. Lovely, wide, broad and padded in the middle. We don't need that padding under the buckles here because these go up underneath your saddle flap and over your sweat flap. So you have your saddle cloth sweat flap between your horse's side and the buckles. But we still get this lovely soft, squishy, you could just eat it, it's so delicious. Both the GPs and the dressage have elastic on them. Now I know a lot of people are like, oh, elastic is so bad, everyone told me not to use elastic on my girths. But actually that's not entirely true. So what's bad is having one-sided elastic girths. So when you've got a girth that's got elastic on one side, ask Santa next Christmas for a new girth, because that's not good. Because when you've got elastic on one side, so say I've got elastic on this side and not this side, and I lean this way, I've got that much movement. And when I lean that way, I've got no movement because I haven't got the elastic on this side, I've only got the elastic on this side. And so because of that, it can make you ride really one-sided. It can put pressure down one side of the horse's back more than the other. It can make your saddle panels drop differently. It can make your flocking squash differently. It can make you ride unevenly. It can make the horse move unevenly. And also you often find that those girths, the elastic themselves is really, really stretchy. And because of that, it overstretches. And it encourages people to over-tighten that girth as well because it's got so much stretch in it. If you're going to have elastic on both sides and have really strong elastic. So you want elastic with a bit of stretch but a lot of strength. So this elastic here, if you can, I don't know if you can see, but let me see if I can. It's a triple layer. Can you see there? 1, 2, 3. Triple layer of elastic, and it's really strong elastic. So it's got some. so there's got some stretch, but not a lot. And it's got some stretch on both sides, so you're not sitting unevenly. So there's enough stretch there for your horse's rib cage to be able to expand and contract a little bit without it being uncomfortable, but there's not so much stretch there that you're going to hoik your girth strap right up the top strap, over tighten your girth and cause problems. So elastic both ends on the GP girth, strong elastic, and the same on the dressage. Elastic both sides, only very short bit of elastic here, again just enough to give your horse that little bit of groin in his ribs, like breathing space. So when they turn a corner, they have to expand their ribs, or you ask them to come up underneath you, or that indeed they just want to breathe in and out. The amount of elastic they have on here is just enough to give you that stretch, to kind of give you that movement and that breathing, but not so much that you end up with your saddle up around your ears and the horse unable to breathe. In terms of like the specifications, I guess the word is, of these girths, they both come in black or brown. They can come in various shades of brown, but normal black and normal brown are the standard colours. This is black, this is brown. You can see the brown's a really dark brown. It has brown elastic on the brown and it has black elastic on the back. Black. They come in any size. So we've had a dressage girth made in a 12-inch for a little close contact jump saddle. I'll see if I can put a picture of that up. And that's super cute. So we've had a 12-inch one made all the way up to, I've got one in there that's 66 inches for a very large horse. They come in all sizes. Standard ones usually are 20 to 32-ish in dressage, and 36 maybe to sort of 60 maybe in the GP, but they can make them to any length, pretty much within reason, I guess. In terms of the finish on them, little bits like, you know, this is really good strong leather, all finished beautifully. The finish on them is stunning. The smell is rather yummy. Yummy too. They're squishy, they're yummy. There's not a single person that sees these girths and doesn't say how beautiful they are. So cost at the moment, the RRP is on the dressage ones, the short ones is 127 I think, and then on the long ones it's about 150. So they're not the cheapest on the market. They're equally not the most expensive on the market. But I do genuinely think for the majority of the situations that I see out saddle fitting, these are the best girths that money can buy. genuinely. They're lovely. I don't know horses that don't like them. They're so, and then, I mean, yeah, like everything, some people see a bit of a difference, some people see a massive difference, but the differences that people see sometimes are incredible, and they're just lovely. So these are probably the most recommended thing that I recommend. I don't always recommend used people because sometimes people can't afford them. But second hand, if you can find one second hand, I mean, they're such beautiful quality. They really are to die for quality. They're such beautiful quality, and as with anything, good quality leather, they'll last you forever. So if you find one second hand, oh my god, buy it second hand. It's not going to be a problem if it's used, even if it's used a lot, because all that happens is leather gets nicer and nicer with age. So as long as all your buckles and everything are intact, there's no harm in going second hand. Just as a quick aside, we call them Ideal F2, but they're also known as Affinity girths. So the Affinity and the F2 tend to be the same thing. If you're at all confused, then ask your saddle fitter. Equally, if you're not sure if you need one of these girths, you like the look of them, but you don't know if you need one, or equally your saddle's been slipping forwards, or your horse has got really full girth groove, and you're not sure if one of these will help, then the best thing to do, and I know I'm such a bore in saying this, but it's ask your saddle fitter, because I get a lot of people messaging me, what girth should I use for Welsh Section C, and I don't know, because I don't know your pony, but your saddle fitter knows, and your saddle fitter knows your pony, and if they think these are a good idea, I'm sure they will tell you. As always, get your saddle checked regularly. Don't just listen to me talking about girths on here. It's really important that you get your saddle checked at least every 6 months by a qualified saddle fitter, and they will be able to help you choose girths as well. If they do recommend a forward curved girth for you or your horse, well, not you because you don't wear the girths. If they do recommend a forward curved girth for your horse, then you will genuinely struggle to find anything better than these. If you want to know anything more about curved girth, I have done that little short video. I'll put a link in the comments, and also if you want to know about the length of dressage girths, because so many people put their dressage girths on too short, then I'll pop a link to that as well in the comments. As always, please ask as many questions as you like. I love answering questions, and feel free to suggest ideas for future videos, things that you want me to look at. And don't forget, I do a live video once a month, so where you can interact and join in and chit chat. You can find me on Facebook, on social media as A Day in the Life of a Saddle Fitter. All one word. In case anyone is wondering what today's calendar of motivation says, it says, whoever is happy will make others happy. And that's by Anne Frank. I always try to smile at everybody. Everybody I see gets a smile, pretty much, because one person, it might make their day. So keep smiling, take care, and I'll see you really soon.